This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
It really is something that can move your life very fastly forward, help you overcome challenges that you might be dealing with, fears, phobias, and much, much more. I'm talking about hypnotherapy. And I know there is some aversion to it until you really understand what's going on. We're going to help you out with that. She's radically different. Yes, she is a hypnotherapist, but she's also a coach, a sound healer, a yoga instructor, Reiki practitioner, and so much more. A lot of insight we've gotten so far. We're going to dig back into it with Audra Sanderhoff on the program. How you doing today?
I'm good, Steve. How are you?
Really well, really well. And this whole, I've said, I'm going to say it again. I am a hypnotherapy cheerleader. It is
Great.
fantastic. Yes, I was like everybody else. What are they doing over there? How is that even working? Can she control my mind? All those things. I would welcome if anybody said, I want to hypnotize you right now. Before you could end the sentence, I would say, yes, it's okay. Let's go. Because it's so impactful, but I think the part that people forget, it's so natural. It's so natural, right?
Yes, it is natural. Most people don't realize that they go into hypnosis several times a day. When they space out and just stare at something, that's a form of hypnosis. Right before you fall asleep, you're dropping yourself into that state of hypnosis, into that theta brainwave. And also sometimes like when you're driving and you're just driving on remote and you end up at home or your office and you're like, I don't remember the drive because it's so patterned in.
Mm.
Of course you were aware and aware of dangers and things like that as you're driving, but not remembering how you got there, the journey there. So it's a form of relaxed, focused concentration.
Always wanted to ask this question, and it popped in my head from what you just said. Meditation, hypnosis, are they similar? I will lay in bed when I first wake up in the morning, and I'll just think. Sometimes I'll fall asleep. Sometimes I won't. But is that a form of, am I hypnotizing myself potentially?
Yes, Steve. Well, meditation and hypnosis are similar, but also different.
Mm-hmm.
So meditation is more of, a relaxed state of mind. With hypnotherapy, I do a focused concentration. And so their mind is focused on the words that I'm saying. I'm not hypnotizing anybody. I'm teaching them how to drop themselves into that relaxed state of mind. And so I'm teaching them self-hypnosis every single session. And they get better and better with each session because the mind and the body remember how to put themselves into that relaxed state. And people, whether they, I'd say 99% of my clients get success, but whether they get success or not, they feel calmer, more at peace, not as reactive to things in life. And
Mm.
so they benefit in so much more ways than just, coming in for the particular behavior or addiction that they're working on.
Sure. And I think I shared with you at a session I had probably about 3 years ago, where they provided me with audio. And it wasn't us doing a session. It was the practitioner, hypnotherapist, just record something. That was just what they do. I've listened to it, not for the goal, but I listened to it to fall asleep. And that wasn't the goal. and,
Okay.
and it's 20 minutes of audio, 6 minutes, I'm out cold. I'm like, and I got to believe that that's okay too, because I'm still listening to the audio subconsciously.
Yes.
And probably reinforcing the goal.
Yes, exactly. And that's where you can listen to hypnotherapy audios, which I have on my website.
Hmm.
And so you can listen to it while you sleep without having to do any work at all. So it's working on the subconscious level. And that's where true change happens. We may want to make changes in our life, but on the conscious level, the mind doesn't have the ability to do that. And so that's where the power of the subconscious mind comes in.
Hmm. Tell me about the audio that you have on your website. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, I've got a few audios, planning to get back in the recording studio and make more. So there's specific audios for addiction, fear, even birthing for labor for women. And so there's a number of different ones. I'm trying to think of all of them. There's maybe like six of them or so that I've got available that they could purchase for, it's a very small fee, $10 to $15, and you get 15-minute ones or 30-minute audios. And I include, there's music in the background of binaural beats, and binaural beats also help to kind of tap into that subconscious mind. So, yeah,
Hmm.
it's really, they're helpful. They can, purchase those along with working with me one-on-one. And I
Yeah,
also do remote sessions and in-person sessions.
yeah, I just found them, audio therapy recordings, and if you on your website there's a tab for more, click shop. It's all right there, explains everything. Yeah, $10. Whoa. Okay.
Buy it at 3 in the morning and down, and you got it right there, and you have
Hmm.
it for.
Love it. Can you give us an example of somebody that came before you, was wanting to work on something, had a challenge, or however, phobia, whatever it is, and
Mhm.
what that journey looked like from that point to the hypnotherapy to the result?
Mhm. I had one client, Steve, that had an eating disorder. For 10 years, it plagued her, and she tried everything to get, stop this disorder. And after the second session, she stopped doing this eating disorder and hasn't returned to it. So she was so happy, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." And I told her, it's like she did the work. I'm just the guide. And she was like, "Well, thank you. You're a really good guide." So, but I teach people how they're doing the work within their own mind. I'm just guiding them through that process to tap into that power of their subconscious mind.
There are many different techniques to get you into a hypnotic state. Do you rotate different ones depending on the person, or you go with one that for you is tried and true?
I usually, with most people, each session that I work with them, so I do like there's packages of 1 through 5, or they can do a package from 9 sessions. I try to, each time we do kind of the same way of dropping into hypnosis because, the body, the mind remembers how to do this. So I'm not going to like throw a new one in, each time. So it's a little bit similar, but each time that we work together, it's quicker, faster. They drop in a little bit quicker because they're practicing in between our sessions. And I give them homework to do their own self-hypnosis at home, twice a day, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night. They can do it as a walking meditation. They can do it while they're doing dishes. Anytime they find that they're going into, say, a craving or a negative rumination, they can tap into that self-hypnosis and start to, live the life they want to live instead of being addicted or, going into that negative self-talk. That's a big one for people that come in. So I've
Mm.
worked with a lot of people who, they just want more. They want to feel better. They are so tired of kind of berating themselves. And so hypnosis and the positive affirmations that they receive, it changes the way the mind has been patterned to believe and talk to itself.
Can anybody hypnotize themselves?
Yes, anyone.
Hmm.
Really easy, it's comfortable, it's relaxing, it's not hard to do.
I've done it using techniques that I got from people like you.
Mhm.
The one that I find works for me is the where you stare up and you're kind of basically looking up at your eyebrows, and then your eyes eventually start fluttering, and then you close them, and then you're basically in the hypnotic state. I don't know, maybe it takes 40 seconds, if that. Is that one that you use?
I do. And that is one, I mean, when you're looking up like that for a long period of time, your eyes start to get tired. And that's where it's like, oh, it feels so good to close my eyes. And then once the eyes are closed, I talk them through like a full body, relaxation so that they can like check in with their whole body. What's holding tension? Where are you not letting go? And so then they start to relax more and more. And it's a trust thing too, it's like working together with people. The very first session, they're like, what's she going to do? What's she going to say? And then each time that we work together, they get more and more relaxed and comfortable. Some people feel floaty, some people feel really heavy and sink deep into the table. Yeah.
Wow.
Massage table, not a
Gotcha.
yeah.
Um, like it's fascinating how it works, and I just want to go back to the looking up to get you into the hypnotic state.
Mhm.
That's simply just making your eyes tired. Nothing else is going on there.
You could do anything. I could do anything basically. So I do one that's a hand drop. So I lift up their wrist, I let it be really heavy, and when I drop it, they drop themselves into that relaxed state. So there's a number of, anything that I'm kind of doing, it's like using it on a continuous basis. So then the body remembers, oh, I mean, you could tell anyone basically anything. This is going to put you into that relaxed state.
Wow, I had no idea. I thought there was some kind of crazy magic going on there. That when
Oh,
you're
sorry. I'm
um,
a mystic.
well, one more reason bring that up because the aversion is there. I don't know what she's doing. She's making me look up into my eyebrows. My eyes are fluttering. It's kind of weird. Just making your eyes tired. Could
Yeah.
could you hypnotize somebody without doing that and just say, close your eyes?
Yeah. Usually people lay down on the massage table and they just immediately close their eyes. I'm like, oops, I missed that, that cue to start that.
Okay.
So, and then I do the hand drop. I do either, I ask permission, of course, before I touch them. And I'll even put my hand on their forehead and just gently rock their head side to side, reminding them to relax. Like so often we carry tension in our jaw and our eyes. Our eyes are always, working with the muscles. And so when I tell them, oh, relax the eyes back into the eye sockets, they're like, so it's about following instructions, and I'm not going to tell them to do anything crazy. Um, and it's just following. If I said anything that went against their beliefs, they would come out of hypnosis.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So if you said something that went against your belief, let's say you got somebody hypnotized, it's all going well, and you make a comment. I'm going to go like crazy hypothetical here. Um, you do not like the bark of a dog. Right now, you do not like the bark of a dog, but I love my dog. When he barks, I'm fine. He's communicating, whatever. That would take you out of hypnotic state because it went against your belief.
Yes,
Wow.
exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I have clients who, when I'm working with them remotely, I remind them that, if there was an emergency, they would be able to, immediately get up, respond to the
Absolutely.
emergency, fire, whatever. Or if I have them at my office, hey, if you need to use the restroom in the middle of the session, you're going to be able to easily get up, go use the restroom, and then come right back in and drop right back into this exact, because it's levels of relaxation, levels of hypnotic trance that they are putting themselves into.
I'm glad we're talking about this because this further backs up the myth that people have in terms of you or any hypnotist, hypnotherapist being able to control somebody's mind. So I'm fascinated by just the statement that you could make to somebody or the suggestion of a comment like dogs barking or what, you don't like pizza. I love pizza. No, you don't like pizza. And that's it. Right away, it's the same thing as if, you said, all right, now take your credit card out of your pocket and give it to me. And no, no, unless I wanted to. Um, right away, that stops everything. I wasn't unaware of that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
exactly. I mean, each person has their own autonomy. So, that person, if it goes against their beliefs or values, they're not going to do it. So, like
Hmm.
state hypnosis is completely different, so that one. So anyway, we won't even talk about that. But this one's for therapy. So people can come in and get, they come in, like I said, either sometimes They are dealing with, feeling like their lack of potential or negative self-talk, addiction, fears, phobias, things like that. So pretty much, I mean, it doesn't even matter what it is. Someone says, "Oh, you need to have a niche." It's like it's not about the alcohol that's the problem. It's the feeling inside the person that they don't like. So they're using something to numb themselves, to not feel. So we're going to get into feelings. And so that's really the core of what we're working on is getting to that emotional root cause of what they don't, of that feeling they don't like inside and what they're trying to use to distract themselves with something else that's not so healthy for them.
How about another example of the journey that you shared with somebody to some positive outcome?
Yes, I've had people who have come in with, weight issues, and after doing 5 sessions of hypnotherapy, nothing changed in their diet, but what it did change in their diet because they realized that they were eating their feelings. And so once they realize that the emotions, oh gosh, I'm bored, or I don't feel good enough, whatever their, thought process that's going on in their head, that's creating them to overeat. And so
Hmm.
that's a huge one that people don't realize they're eating their feelings. So that those are really powerful sessions with people that I've had. And then also fears and phobias. I've had, a client who had some fear of flying. He'd never had fear of flying previously, but it was something that creeped in and, no particular reason why. And, just completely shut down, had to still fly for work. And once doing the hypnotherapy, actually started enjoying the flights, enjoying the turbulence. So it was really, he was so happy to be able to enjoy his flights, be comfortable, not go into a complete kind of shutdown emotion. Yeah.
Where did it come from? His
Where
his fear his fear of flying. Where did it how did it
is,
present out of nowhere?
yeah, it presented, I mean, that's where, things can happen at any age. And, some people, like I said, they flew their whole life and then all of a sudden this fear started creeping in. I don't know if we got to the particular, if there was a particular incident that happened for that person, but it just started getting worse and worse. And then once doing the hypnotherapy, flying is fun, enjoyable, and no problems at all. So it's really nice to see when people get that success. They feel empowered, and that's really what it is. It's empowering people and teaching them how to use the power of their mind and creating positive affirmations of what they do want. So we don't focus on my sessions. That's a really good point to bring up for so we don't focus on the problem. We focus on what they want. We focus on the positive. I have them write down affirmations and clients start coming in, second, third, fourth appointments, and they're like, those things that I wrote down are actually happening. So they're
Hmm.
manifesting what they want in life.
In the situation with the gentleman who had a fear of flying, that could be connected to even something from his childhood that maybe just presented, or maybe something triggered it to come back. And the flying thing, it could have been anything. It could have been a fear of holding a pen. It doesn't matter. It just happened to be flying.
Yes. Yeah. It definitely relates. All sessions usually relate back to childhood beliefs,
Hmm.
limited beliefs, or misperceptions about something that happened when they were younger. And so then it's like putting on those rose-colored glasses and then a green pair and a blue pair. Every time something happens in our life that is traumatic, we put on a different set of lenses and then we start seeing the world more bitter, maybe more negative, more, you know, not in a positive light. And when they do the hypnotherapy, each session is like removing that green pair and that blue pair down to the pink pair until they're like, oh, now I see what was blocking me. So by changing that misperception, limited belief, or, something that they experienced in a negative way, how they can go back and heal that particular incident. So then it changes the way they see things.
How often when you work with somebody, do you identify what it is? Like fear of flying. Maybe you work with somebody in that challenge. Is it often identified what it's connected to, or it just resolves? You know, just somehow it gets figured out. We don't even know what it is, and the person's fine.
Usually, what I work with people is we get to the emotional root cause. Where did that fear stem from? And so once we get to the emotional root cause, then it resolves itself. And once we go through that process of kind of taking their adult self with that traumatized self
Hmm.
through the process again, so that they can heal from it and see it for what it is instead of putting a limited belief on themselves. Yeah.
When you say the root cause, what can you give an example or two what that might look like as an example?
Hmm. Well, with all confidentiality, but working with people to get to the emotional root cause of, say, an issue that they're having. Um, so I'm trying to think of one particular one was like, a fear of spiders. There was a camping trip coming up. This guy was going on a camping trip. He totally would lose it when he'd see a spider, and he didn't want to show all these people how afraid he was of spiders, and he didn't want his son to see
Mm,
this experience either. And so he went to do hypnotherapy before the adult kid camp out and found out that the fear of spiders wasn't his. So when he was little, he was on the kitchen floor playing. His mom screamed, jumped up on the kitchen counter, and dad came in and rescued them all from the spider. So in his mind, mom is, petrified of spiders. So I must be too. And so once he discovered that it wasn't his, then he went on the camping trip, enjoyed himself, had no fear of the spiders.
wow. That's pretty profound. I mean, think about how many things as a kid we're exposed to along the way. And it might not make an impression on every child, but it may for others. And now you're stuck with it. Yeah. Wow.
But you're not stuck with it. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are. You can come in, get the hypnotherapy done and get that relief. I mean, people come in, I ask them how they're feeling after a session, and they didn't come in for weight at all, but they are like, I feel lighter because they've been carrying the weight of this
Mm,
baggage, whatever that thought, you know, um, that negative thought pattern, it's lifted. And so they feel lighter. So it's really nice that I was like, wow, it's just funny. I have people that say, they feel relief, they feel lighter, they feel free. And one person said, silence. I have silence because that negative ego that's always talking in your head,
hmm.
silenced. And so
Wow.
they feel so much better.
The monkey chatter, as they call it.
Yes, yes, the
And for,
monkey mind.
yeah, and for that gentleman, it could be very often, not just a camping trip, but I'm in the car. I think I might have seen a spider that maybe it's under the seat. Where could it be? You know, on and on and on and on and on. You don't have to listen to that. You just got to go to a website and start a conversation. How do we find you, Audra?
I have a website, which is my name, so it's super easy. It's audrasanderhoff.com, and they can schedule 24/7 and get in for a session. You can do a free consultation so I can meet you, see if we're a good fit to work together, and we go from there.
Beautiful. Thank you for today, for past podcasts that we've done, and just with everything that you offer, but just helping us understand how this all works. I learned a lot today. I'm far from the expert, but I've had hypnotherapy. So in my mind, I kind of understand it. I do, but now to a much greater degree after today. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.